Welcome to Meowie Hour. I'm your host, Arden Moore. As you know, this show is brought to you each and every Wednesday night by the Cat Fancier Association. I got a couple of ginger boys in the house, Rusty the Performer, and looking like annoyed is his big brother, pet safety cat, Casey. I also can't do this show without my cool co-host. Let's wish her a belated birthday, all breed CFA judge, Kathy Black. Woo! Happy birthday!
Hey, Kathy, happy birthday.
And we don't discriminate, our doggy designee, Destiny. We also very much appreciate our sponsor for the show. And I'm speaking of course, the makers of Kitty Raid, Doggy Raid, and my favorite, Yummy Raid. These are full of prebiotics, and they have good things for kitties and dogs to keep them hydrated. Maybe they're having a waning appetite, and so I really appreciate, this is a veterinarian approved what do they call it? Isotonic drinks for pets, which I think is pretty cool. There's somebody in our house looking at us like, well, am I chopped liver? No, I'm just teasing. I am so delighted to introduce to all of you. He's a good friend of mine, and he's a good friend to cats in South Florida. He is the communications manager, and he is in charge of their community outreach trap, neuter, vaccine, and release program at the stellar Peggy Adams Rescue League based in West Palm Beach. Big pause and applause, everybody, for the one, the only, Paul Bates. Paul, I'm so glad you made it to Meowie Hour.
Arden, thank you for inviting me. Kathy, nice to meet you. It's a pleasure to be with you. I am actually still at the shelter, and I would have an animal with me, but we have a medical team that is really persnippety about cross-contamination. So,
all right, playing it safe. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Playing it safe. But you do have a stuffed animal that looks like Casey.
I call this trap cat. When I go and do outreach and have to show someone how the trap works, we march him in there.
Yeah. So we're going to dive in a little bit into the world of what he does at Peggy Adams. He does a lot. He really does. And wait till you hear some of the stats. They're going to blow your mind. But right now, I want everyone to circle Monday on your calendar. Monday on your calendar, everyone, is National Pet Day. It has been celebrated, believe it or not, since 2006. I'm not going to say who created it because that's our trivia question. But what I can tell you is that cats and dogs do a body good. They help reduce our blood pressure. They lower our blood pressure. They help deal with our stress. And Lord knows during COVID, who was the companion in your house that never bothered you, never tried to grab the remote and switch channels? Your loyal cat dog, right? So I want to do a shout out to them, but I wanted to let you know, it's kind of interesting. This started in the United States, but now National Pet Day is celebrated in several places all over the world, including Italy, Australia, Israel, Guam, Scotland. There's been a lot of celebrities, call me, who have been part of this National Pet Day. We're talking Ellen DeGeneres, Ricky Gervais. If we can get him, anybody know him? If we can get him on Meowie Hour, the dude loves cats.
We would love to get him on here.
Yeah, come on. I'm asking my friends in the audience. We have a global audience. Jimmy Fallon, he's a big cat man. Kevin Bacon. Are we all just 6 degrees away from him? Seth Meyers, on and on. So there's a lot of people out there, ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and the celebrities. But I love that Monday is going to be National Pet Day. So there's another thing I want to shout out to you about. I feel like my old newspaper days. There are 2 people that have been guests on our Meowie Hour show that are really stepping it up for people in Ukraine and their pets. We've all seen the images of people having to get into Poland and other places, and they've got a cat in their arm or a dog on their leash, and their child has a little teddy bear with them. Well, I want to salute 2 people who are doing a great job, and that they are Dr. Marty Becker, and he's America's family veterinarian. He created Fear-Free Pets. And of course, our other good buddy who's been on Meowie Hour, Dr. Gary Weitzman. He is the executive director of the San Diego Humane Society. They both are at the border providing veterinary care for cats and dogs. And Paul, I know that you're just hearing about it from me first, but what do you think about the fact that they're flying on their dime, risking their lives, and they're coming to help do what they can for the pets that really do keep us sane and healthy?
I have truly been taken by the news coverage. I don't know if the media is focusing in on the animals just because they know it will get us, or are they really, oh my God, everything I see has an animal in it. I'm just amazed. And the outpouring of what people are doing, the rescues and other places here in South Florida are sending plane loads of supplies for the pets.
Yes, exactly. Kathy, what do you think about people in all levels doing what they can to give back? And Dr. Gary Weitzman was actually in the Air Force for a number of years, so he's got military training. Marty Becker grew up on a farm, and he's been through a lot. So I think the two of them, I'm just so proud of them. So there is this.
I'm sure that the veterinarians that are on those border towns are overwhelmed.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure that's very welcome relief. And our breeder assistance program and a lot of European breeders have really pulled together and taken truckloads of cat and dog food and litter into Ukraine, into those border areas to help all the animals that have been displaced. It's just, the horrors of what we see.
You do what you can. You do what you can, because you could be overwhelmed if you try to take it all on. And there is a little bit of a bright spot. Any of you that know Dr. Marty Becker, he's as much of a goofball as I am. And we do pun-offs. So here's this image he shared on social media. Check this out, Paul. Look at this giant snoozing cat. It is actually a piece of art that's at the Paris airport. What do you think of that?
I'm not surprised to hear it. Paris loves cats. I've been there. They love their kitties.
So he got stuck at the Paris airport on the way to Poland.
Awesome.
And he was overnight, flight canceled. And he said, you know what? I'm going to share this post. C'est magnifique la chat. There's my French. My French teacher.
There we go. Very nice.
But I wanted to salute them because I really admire what they're doing. Godspeed to them both. I hope they come back safely. We'll try to see if we can get them back on this show and tell their tales, and also on my Oh Behave show on Pet Life Radio. There's one more headline. Everybody mark your calendar. Saturday is Online Cat Day. It's brought to you by the Community Cats podcast, Stacy LeBaron, and it's all day. There are 4 speakers. Do you see one that looks like me? Yep, that's me. It's my mug. We are going to be talking about cat behavior, but my teammates on this, they include Pam Johnson Bennett. She's kind of a pioneer in cat behavior. We have Dr. Rachel Geller. We have Tabitha Coursera. And my talk is going to be about mealtime mayhem because of my cat, Rusty. I guess my thing's blowing up here a little bit. Hang on. Come on. Satellite, get lined. Right, there you go. So it's going to be all about things that can happen at mealtime. Stress is a big thing. And so I hope you can go to communitycatspodcast.com. You can find out how to watch these 4 different presentations. Bring your cat and watch and put on your slippers. And Paul, what do you think about the Online Cat Day?
It sounds like an awesome thing. It's an all-day thing?
Yeah, we start from, it's from 10 to 5 Eastern time. Of course, mine's the last one, so please try to catch it. Anybody?
I'll try and jump on there, yeah.
It'll be a lot of fun. Pet Safety Cat Casey's going to assist me, maybe Rusty the performer. But we really want to help you realize there's a lot of things happening, a lot of silent smack talk going on when cats eat, and what's some of the do's and don'ts. And what happens if there is a cat fight? With my background in pet first aid, we show you how to safely wrangle an irritated, injured cat. Right, Casey? Wakey, wakey. Casey, you okay? Casey's sleepy. Why are you sleeping today?
I guess it's in the air.
All right. So, Kathy, you've got something to share about the CFA. What's happening?
Oh, yeah. So we always like to do a little CFA minute when I come up with one. So I just thought it'd be interesting to just quickly talk about the different regions that CFA has. We have 7 regions within the United States. So if extending into Canada and down into Mexico, we have regions 1, regions 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So those are the different regions within the United States. We also have, and they're detailed on our website, what states those include in the different regions, or maybe it's a longitude or a latitude or a river or something like that. Anyway, then we also have the Japan region, we have the Europe region, we have China, and we have the international division, which is everything else. So we have lots of different areas. As each cat competes, they're assigned to a region. Every region gives out their top 25 awards at the end of the show season. Our show season is coming to an end in a couple of weeks. It ends on the last full weekend in April. So that's in a couple of weeks. And then the new season starts the first weekend in May. And so we don't have an off season. But if you want to find out what region you're in, there's even a Atlas locator site here on our website that you plug in your city and it will tell you which region you're in. And all, of course, that's on CFA.org. So that's my CFA minute.
Thank you very much. And I don't know if you know this, Paul, but CFA is the oldest cat registry. They've been around since, what, 1906?
The oldest American registry, yes.
Okay. All right, so that was before I was born. Just close.
It's before Oklahoma was born. Oklahoma became a state in 1907. So.
Oh, and Kathy is in Oklahoma. I'm in Dallas, and we have Paul Bates here in West Palm Beach, Florida. Before we launch into us talking to him about some of the cool things going on at Peggy Adams Rescue League, somebody wants to win a prize, right? So thanks to our sponsors, Kitty Raid, look at, I'm so good at this, Doggy Raid, and Yummy Raid. We asked the question last week. We said, there's a lot of kitties out there known as klepto cats, the ones that steal the bling, steal things. But there is one cat, a snowshoe cat, who lives in California, still around. The kitty's 16 years old. And the cat's been on The Late Show when it was with David Letterman and been featured on Animal Planet. Who was the cat that kept stealing everything in great volumes? And the kitty's name is Dusty. And the answer is Dusty. So, Miss Kathy, who wins the wonderful kitty, doggy, and yummy raid packets?
The winner last week was Sandy Bowen in Chicago. So congratulations to Sandy Bowen.
All right. Now, if you know the answer to this, our special guest, Paul Bates, do not answer. Do not have a poker face. We're going to ask you. We just mentioned at the top of the show that Monday is National Pet Day. Yay! Time to celebrate these guys that make us better humans. Right, Casey? He's I got things saying the same because you guys need a lot of help. Anyway, there is a very great social media influencer who created National Pet Day in 2006. Now, come on, trivia folks. I'm going to give you 4 names. They're real people. They are social media influencers, but you got to name the one that actually created National Pet Day. Did I give you enough clues? Right, Kathy? Okay, here you go. Is the person's name A, Kate Benjamin, B, Carol Bryant, C, Colleen Page, or D, Sandy Robbins? Put your answers in now. Kate Benjamin, Carol Bryant, Colleen Page, or Sandy Robbins? Kathy, tell them how to do this.
Yeah, Kathy just posted the question on Facebook and included the answer, so I just edited that. Type your answers either on the Facebook chat, but be sure you email me because I'm not Facebook friends with everybody that's watching us. My email address is listed below my name here. It's kathy.black@yahoo.com. Send me your answer. I'll pick the winners Sunday afternoon randomly, and I'll write you an email to let you know if you won or not. So make sure you email me your answers, kathy.black@yahoo.com.
And good luck, everyone. And Paul, do you have an idea who it might be?
An educated guess.
Okay, good. But you're very good at poker.
Same.
All right. Thank you. So I want to bring you all up to speed. Several years ago, well, many years ago, I was actually a newspaper reporter in South Florida for the Sun Sentinel. And I lived in Palm Beach County. And I knew of this great shelter. It's called the Peggy Adams Rescue League. And then years later, I came back to visit, and I had the opportunity to do a radio show and some articles for Catster magazine and for my Oh Behave show. And I had the chance to meet a great guy that proves real men love cats. And he is actually saving thousands of lives of cats. And this is, of course, Paul Bates, who is on our show today. And I don't want to embarrass you, but the dude does a lot. He's the communication manager for the Peggy Adams Rescue League. You guys got to go to peggyadams.org. Throughout the show, Kathy's going to be posting these links so you have them. Please check them out. They have tons of resources. They're one of the most innovative shelters I've ever had the pleasure to tour and experience. When I have some questions in the field of cat rescue, Paul's one of the top people I go to. But I said, Paul, would you like to be on Meowie Hour? He goes, what? So,
what's a Meowie Hour?
Yeah, I mean, come on, what was your first impression? You know me. I write for the local paper. They have a magazine, guys, in South Florida called the Coastal Star. I do not live in South Florida. I live in Dallas. But this magazine was started by my newspaper buddies about 13 years ago. We're talking about Mary Kate Lemming, and so she asked me to write the pet column, even though I don't live in South Florida. So I've been doing it every month for 13 years. Sometimes I pester Paul, right, Paul?
Correct. Did you know Mary Kate's one of my neighbors? Did I ever tell you that?
No. All right.
Way.
Newsflash: my publisher is a neighbor of Paul.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. So anyways,
world.
I do appreciate all the help you're giving, but I just want to get into it. How did you become a Catman dude?
Well, as you know, I grew up with cats around my parents, of course, and I've always loved cats. And always had a cat. But quite honestly, I'm a dog person.
Well, I love dogs and I love cats. Obviously, we got Destiny in the house, but you grew up in New York area, right?
I grew up out on Long Island.
Okay.
My parents lived near the Bidewee home, if you know what that is.
Oh, yeah, that's a big.
It's a nice place, yeah.
Yeah.
And they always adopted from there and kept at least 5 or 6 cats in the house.
Wow.
And it was commonplace to let your dogs out in the evening. That's
Really?
what they did. Yes, it was very, very common. And I thought it was very perfectly normal.
Wow.
So anyhow, fast forward to moving down here to Florida. I started here with Peggy Adams Animal Rescue League as a client services representative. Special.
Boy, that sounds like a sexy title. Say it again. Client what?
But that 10 years ago is when we started our Trap, Neuter, Vaccinate, Return program.
Good, good.
And I was somehow enticed by this program. I just loved the idea. I loved the idea of it. Not only that, I loved all the people who were clients of Trap, Neuter, Vaccinate, Return. I thought it was so cool that these people were going out and trapping free roaming cats and making sure they get spayed, neutered, vaccinated. And I just latched onto it. So by no means am I a cat expert. I can tell you that I'm not. What I am is communication, good people skills, and working to nurture client relationships.
Well, everyone needs a good communicator. Everyone needs a good leader to help lead a program in education, because knowledge is power, and knowledge helps us do the right thing for all kinds of cats. Wouldn't you agree, Paul?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
and he's very humble, folks, but this Paul works really hard. So a few years back on my honeymoon,
I think
I said, honey, can we spend a day with Paul Bates? Because I really want to see firsthand how he works with community cats. And we met this nicest lady that was taking care of a bunch of community cats. And we just promised not to divulge their address and things like that. But can you remember that? And I mean, this is part of your life.
I absolutely remember it, Arden, and I can tell you I still visit those cats once every 2 weeks.
Oh,
If you
great.
remember right, I was bringing her food every 2 weeks, cat
Yeah,
food.
nice.
And unfortunately, we lost her a year and a half ago, but the cats remained. So what I did was I knocked on doors in her area, and
Really?
I found another wonderful retired lady that didn't have anything to do, and I begged her, can you please go to Brenda's house where she lived, because all the cats are still there. And I'll give you the food, you feed them, and I'll come back every week or two. I'll bring flea supplies, everything. So now it's the Deb Project, because her name is Debbie. I call it the Deb Project.
Okay.
And most of the cats are still there. I don't know if you remember some of the funny names like Can Do.
Yeah.
Remember that? He's still there.
And they're very nice cats. They, you know, all of a sudden we pulled up and you see them kind of coming in from the bushes and the underbrush, and they poke their heads out and sniff there, and they're like, oh, it's Paul. Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, there's about 25 or 30 of them.
Wow.
And over the months of Deb going to feed the cats decided they didn't want to wait for Deb to come there with the food. So they went to Deb's house and waited at the front door.
Party at Deb's house, party in the house.
They found out where she lived and followed her home. And now all of the cats live at Deb's house instead of the original Brenda's house. And all doing great. All just great.
Well, that's good. They get more attention that way.
Yeah, they do. They do. And you are a communicator. And this is important because we have a lot of folks watching our show that try to help community cats that may be giving of their time at a shelter. So you really have to be quite a negotiator, don't you? And words, what you say and how you say it matter. Convincing Deb, hey, we need your help, right? So we need your diplomatic skills, I think, in the world. If you don't have cat fights.
Well, you know, it's a very delicate balance between people like Deb, who are feeding these cats, and people like, I'm just going to make up a name, Mary, who drive around.
My sister's name, Karen.
There are a lot of community cat advocates that drive around from trailer park to trailer park to trailer park to bad neighborhoods to here and there. And their concept is every cat deserves a lap to lay on or a cat tree to sit on next to Arden, but they don't belong on the streets.
Oh.
So it's very hard to get across that in a lot of cases, it's not a bad life, especially here in South Florida.
Yeah, you got good
warm
weather.
year-round.
Yeah.
They never have to worry about those boxes to go get warm in. It's warm everywhere. So there's a little bit of a rift there with that people with that mentality.
Well, let me ask you this, because Kathy's listening. Kathy, don't you like Paul's demeanor? Wouldn't you kind of give the guy a chance to talk? Whatever side of the fence you are on, I think that's a very special talent.
Well, I'll admit I can't do it alone. And I'll give you a little example of how I find just the right person to help me. just like Brenda's mobile home park, where that you came to me with me, I also service an area in downtown West Palm Beach that is the lowest income community in the entire county.
Okay.
Very, very low income. And it's a unique situation because for many, many years, cats were breeding there out of control.
Thanks.
And these are people that don't have much. They don't have much. But if they see a little kitten out in the bushes and it's beautiful, oh my God, I have something beautiful now. And they didn't have to spend any money on it.
There's no such thing as a free cat.
Well, right. So anyhow, I got started on that project about 7 years ago. And what I soon learned is I need a helper. Who's the best person to tell me what's going on in this neighborhood?
Okay.
So I was driving in, delivering some food one day, and I passed the mail truck. And I said, oh my God, who knows this neighborhood better?
Brilliant.
The mail person. So now me and the mail person meet every 2 weeks, and we discuss how things are in the neighborhood. Typically what's going on is someone has to move. You've heard about the unbelievable rent increases throughout South Florida.
Yeah.
People have to move. They can't take the cat with them, and they don't know what to do with it. They open the door and they let it out. So what I try and do is not let it turn into a street cat. We try and, because those are nice cats, they're friendly cats. So my goal is to not have to bring food for more cats. All I can do to feed the ones that were there to begin with, but we don't want more. So we try and pull those and bring them to shelters.
So that's a really good point, because it's hard, unless their ear is tipped, it's hard sometimes unless you really look at the signs. Is this a community cat that's happy as pie to be living outside? Or is this a cat that got booted out for a variety of circumstances and it's like, whoa, I'm not inside a house anymore? Are there some things you can share with our folks that might help distinguish the two?
Well, certainly the tipped ear is a dead giveaway. You know, that's probably been a community cat for quite some time. Someone made the effort to catch it and bring it in for the free TNVR services. And then, of course, you can kind of tell who the pet cats are. They're usually sitting on someone's front step or something like that. But an interesting side note to that, and I don't know if you heard about this, the Washington, D.C. cat count.
What is that?
Well, about a year ago, Washington, D.C. decided they wanted to know how many free roaming community cats they had in D.C. Well, they threw $1.5 million at a company to count cats. So what they did is they purchased dozens and dozens of trail cams, and they set them up all over Washington, D.C. and monitored the cat activity for 6 months. 6 months. When they saw a cat somewhere, they'd go back the next day and they'd knock on the door to show them the pictures on the camera. Is this your cat? And they were able to get a really good count. But the most interesting thing that came out of that study was they discovered that 50% of the cats that live in DC are not feral cats. They're not discarded cats. They're Long Island cats that my parents let out for a walk in the evening. People let their cats out for a walk, especially in the evening. And what they discovered is 50% of the free roaming cats in DC are actually owned cats, not feral, not discarded.
Wow. One of our viewers just wrote that it's illegal in Rhode Island to feed a community cat.
Are you kidding me?
That's what they just posted, and they said there's coyotes and they're just considered prey, which is awful because we need a feral cat population to control vermin, you know. And
similar ordinance here, Kathy. You're allowed to feed them if the ear is tipped. You're not allowed to feed them if the ear is not tipped.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
and
good to know.
Here's the quandary, Paul. I have 4 cats. 2 of them have tipped ears because they were former community cats, Mikey and Baxter, and they're both senior cats. And we realized they needed to be in a home. and they have adapted nicely with our dogs and Casey and Rusty. But they have chips, microchip IDs, they have collars, but they have tipped ears. And so I can't regrow their ear tip.
Well, we've tried real hard to get out the fact that tipped ears are cool.
Yeah, I think so.
But-
Casey wants a tat or a tipped ear. I don't know.
Tipped ears are cool. And we even teach it in the education program to the kids. Tipped ears are cool. That means someone cared enough to work with this cat. And like you took in 2 tipped ear cats, you're a special person for being able to now make them not feral anymore, because we have to assume they were at one time.
Patience is good. Your energy is important. And we have 2 dogs, Kona and Emma, who think cats are gods. So they have respect for the CATs. But that brings us to a term people want to know. You said you have special adoption programs, and I really want to get into that at Peggy Adams. One of them is called Working Cats. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Oh, good. He's got got mice. Tell us about this, Paul.
So the Working Cat program is for cats that are a little bit fractious. They don't want to sit on a lap. They don't want to be pet. And sometimes they end up here, even though we try not to take in feral cats. Sometimes they end up here anyway.
Okay.
So we developed the Working Cat program.
That's
All
pretty
you
cool.
have to do is provide some food and promise us that you're going to lock it up for at least 2 weeks. Because if you just bring it to, let's say, a horse farm or a car garage that opens every day, the cat's not going to stay there. You know, he's
Okay.
not going to stay there. He doesn't really appreciate companionship, so he's not going to stay. But if you lock him up there for 2 weeks, well, the food is going to be the motivator. They're going to stay
Right.
because of the food, you know.
Well, this is where your education is coming in handy. You're helping rehome outside cats, but giving them time to, oh, now that smells like home now.
Yeah.
I get meals every day. I think I'll stay at Joe Bob Billy's garage.
Yeah, we try everything possible not to have to euthanize an animal. Oh, about 6 months ago, a golf course in Boca Raton got bought up by a developer, and there was 12 cats living on the golf course, and neighbors were feeding them, but they had to go. They couldn't stay there. They were bulldozing the whole thing. Well, luckily, a well-off woman in Boca said, I'll sponsor them if Peggy Adams will take them and put them in the Barn Cat program, which we did, and they all found homes within 6 months.
Oh,
And you know
fantastic.
what? I bet their golf scores were better than those damn developers that came in. Because kitties know how to do a dog leg shot. Well, there's another one. I love this because you have to be creative to be able to find homes for cats or dogs that, you know, they're not like young and cute looking. So you have something called the Gray Whiskers Club. I love that. Can you tell us?
So the Gray Whiskers Club is a fee-waived adoption program for older cats.
Okay.
Again, living in South Florida, you know that a large portion of our population are retirees. And they get a cat when they're a little bit younger, and then they get older and go to the nursing home and they can't bring the cat. So now they have a 12 or 15-year-old cat that has nowhere to go. And they're not real adoptable. You know, people don't want to take on the expense of a 12 or 15-year-old cat because you know the bills that are going to come with it. But we try and help as many of those as we can. So we developed the Gray Whiskers Club.
I feel like I'm getting some whiskers coming. Okay.
We make sure that all of those cats get dental work before they go to their new home. We promise to provide ongoing support, may it be behavior or medical. We give them the proper food because typically an older cat can't eat most of the off-the-shelf foods, you know. So we give them a starter kit, flea and tick supplies, a license tag, everything you can imagine to keep this cat going, and it works, and it costs them nothing. It's fee waived.
Well, I love that because kitties live a long time if cared for. And when they get the senior cat, their personality is pretty much set. So you know if you're getting a grumpy cat or a lap cat or a, I want to lick your face cat. I mean, I love that. And Casey says, I just turned 8. Everybody who wished me happy birthday, thank you. Really appreciate that. But we have Mikey who's 17 and we have Baxter who's 12. And so we've got a couple of senior boys that came from the streets and they're very happy and very predictable personalities. But Baxter had a lot of bad dental. So and that could be in pain. So I really admire that you're doing that. But let's go to the opposite age of the spectrum. It's April, kitten season. You want to say something about that? What's going on at Peggy Adams with all those kittens?
Well, first thing to report is we now have a kitten nursery here at Peggy Adams Animal Rescue.
Oh, cool. Good.
A 24-hour-a-day operation. It's staffed 24 hours a day.
Wow.
And we close it for the whole summer. And I can tell you it just reopened today, actually, for kitten season.
Okay. Tell us
So
about it.
it's very hard to convince the public not to snatch, we call it kidnap. Don't kidnap kittens. But some people, they do it. And by the time they finally get to us, it's too late to put them back. So of course we take them and we put them in the neonate nursery. Another thing we're doing right now is we're actually buying ad space on Facebook and in local newspapers talking about don't kidnap the kittens, but here's what you can do.
Okay.
Try providing a little box. Give mama some good food. Give mama some water. Keep an eye on them. If mama doesn't come back in 24 hours, then it's time to scoop them up. But
yeah, because mama could be out hunting for food.
Mama's out hunting for food, right?
Yeah.
So, and they really need mama's milk because it's like saying, okay, you're going to have a baby and leave it in the hospital for 6 months because there's not enough people at home to take care of it, whatever. It's not a good place for babies.
Yeah.
A hospital is not a good place for babies, and a shelter's not a good place for tiny, tiny little delicate kittens. And as hard as we try not to have germs.
Yeah, but their immune systems are still forming. They're very prone to.
So they need mama's milk, and we try real hard to set up the people to keep them at home. Even in a house is better than in a shelter.
Yes.
So if they come in with a box of kittens, and we can give them the KMR and the bottles and the litter pan and everything they need, and then convince them, now can you please take them back home for another 2 weeks?
Guess what? You get to foster these babies now. Thank you.
Yeah. We have a lot of people watching our show, Paul, that do breed purebreds and do have litters. And we also have people on our show watching right now that have helped orphan kittens. But I really think your information is good. Kathy, you want to say anything about this? It's pretty important to be around with mama.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, mama's going to take the best care of them. And as long as mama's able to get good quality food and give the babies the nutrition they need, they're going to be the best place with mama. So you don't need to be taking those babies away from mama. Yeah.
Short window of time between when the kittens really do need mama and mama's milk. And then we get to the point where mama is now going to start teaching them how to be feral.
Right.
So we want to leave them long enough to get mama's milk, but not so long for mama to give them those feral lessons.
Yeah, about 6 weeks. About 6 weeks is the
I
max.
used to tell people between 4 and 6 is the time to pull them. And of course, there's always the problem of fleas out under the bushes, that starts getting to them. So it's like a really short window there when you should pull them and bring them in. And
well, you actually have a chart right there. Everybody's looking at your background because everybody's nosy. Tell us about that.
Well, I use that in a class that I actually do here at the shelter. And of course, I get a lot closer. It's hard for you guys to see this, but it's showing what a newborn looks like all the way up to what a 10-week-old looks like.
That's cool.
And
I
I
like
can
that.
easily say, okay, if you can bring them to us when they're here, that's great. Or you can still bring them to us when they're here, that's great too. But if you bring them to us when they're here, they're probably going to be hissy spitty.
I did a lot of people like that were hissy and spitty, but yeah.
Mhm. And it really does take a special kind of foster to kitten charm these hissy spitties. So we have our core base of fosters. Last year we had about 600 volunteer foster people.
Oh,
That
very nice.
would
Very
take
nice.
them in and get them out and take them in and get them out and take them in and get it out. And then, of course, when people come in with the kittens, we try and make them into fosters. Even if they're not signed up with us as a Peggy Adams foster, we're going to make you into a foster and you're going to be part of saving these kittens.
It really takes a special person to be a foster parent because they're with you such a short amount of time, hopefully.
Well,
And
sometimes
so,
with the kittens, it can be a while because they've got to stay there until they get spay-neutered.
Well,
Yeah.
but that's 3 or 4 months. So that's
Right.
still a short time in the
Sometimes
life
they're
of a
there
cat.
for
Yeah.
6 weeks. Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
they would have 6 weeks. One of the things I had mentioned earlier is that working here in the communication center for the past year now during COVID, I've gotten a good handle on why are people calling us? Why are
Okay.
people calling us?
And tell us how many calls, you gave me a stat that you get a month. Your team gets a month.
Yep. Anywhere between 8,000 and 11,000 phone calls a month come into my communication center. Now,
Wow.
I'm not personally answering them all. I have 4 employees that help me. But
That's a
between
lot.
11,000. And then we have a software program where just with a click of a button, we can kind of get a short synopsis about why did this person call.
Okay.
And at the end of the month, this program compiles all that information and I can tell how many people are calling for what. Okay. And one of the important things we look at is how many adoptions did we do in a particular month? And I can tell you we do between 400 and 500 every single month, 400 and 500,
Wow.
400 and 500. And now how many people call during the next month because they have an animal to surrender? And this has remained consistent for the past 2 years. 400 to 500 adoptions a month, 700 to 800 people calling in wanting to surrender an animal.
Uh-oh.
So we got a real imbalance going on there. So that's part of the reason that we do all the special free adoption programs. But even that alone is not enough. And as I stated, we can't adopt our way out of pet overpopulation. There's only
And I actually want you to say that again, because I think that is a strong statement. Go ahead.
We cannot adopt our way out of pet overpopulation.
Good.
There has to be other programs to help with pet overpopulation. And my biggest thought is education, education, education. If we can stop them from being born in the first place, then we don't have to find out a way to adopt out 700. How are we going to get from 5 to 700? That's a long way. So we have many other programs going on here. One of them is the Peggy's Pantry Food Bank here at Peggy.
Okay. All right.
People who are struggling financially can come once a month and pick up enough cat or dog food for free to last them an entire month.
Very nice.
And we'll do that for 3-month periods, hoping that the problem resolves itself and they can get off the program. And as it stands, we are giving out over 10,000 pounds of food a month to struggling families. Another thing we're doing is with our behavior department, if somebody walks in to surrender an animal and they say, this dog's too much, this cat's too much, we don't just say, all right, give me it. We're going to say, what part of what you're saying is too much? What's going on? So if we have to give somebody a $200 dog crate to save us from having to take in the dog and run it through Peggy Adams Animal Rescue League, that may cost anywhere between $300 and $800 by the time we get it back out the door. What's the better bet? Give them a $200 dog crate or spend $800?
Or even a cat tree, right?
A cat tree. Oh, there's so many things. Yeah, there's so many things. Luckily, we've learned that, and it's working. It's called shelter prevention. You don't have to
Love it.
take them in to begin with. You don't have to worry about adopting them out. We would love to put ourselves out of business, but we don't see it happening.
Well, I do hope all of you listening, especially those of you in the South Florida area, I hope you take a look at peggyadams.org. There's a lot of resources there. There's a lot of ways you can help. Opening your wallet, giving of your time, education. We're gonna shift gears for a minute, Paul, because Kathy's gonna tell us a little bit about the what is it? The short hair SH.
The Colorpoint short hair.
Colorpoint SH. I'm going to temporarily go off screen because I'm getting ready to make a mocktail. All you guys remember, first of the month, I always go alcohol free, but I'm going to get my supplies ready. Paul, please stay around. Casey, stay around, buddy. All right, take it away, Kathy.
You know how to get a hold of me.
Okay, so every week we feature a breed, and CFA started this year highlighting a breed a week. We're doing them alphabetically. There's 46 breeds. So almost every week is going to be taken up by one of our breeds. And these are featured on our Facebook page as well as our website. So we're coordinating along with CFA for Meowie Hour. And this week is the Colorpoint Shorthair. So the Colorpoint Shorthair, the red gene was introduced into the Siamese gene pool to create the Colorpoint Shorthairs. And they were advanced to CFA status in 1964 with the red and the cream points. And then later in 1969, they recognized lynx, which means tabby, and the color points. And I mean the tortoiseshell, okay? So the Colorpoint Shorthair breed is 16 colors. The body and the head type is identical to our Siamese. And I saw on Facebook, and one of our followers today said today is National Siamese Day. So it's great that we're fitting with that. The cats come in both solid and lynx or tabby patterns, and the tortoiseshell. There's 30 points on the head, including 10 for the eye color, 30 points on the body, and 30 points on the color, with 10 points on the coat. So it's a very balanced standard, 30, 30, 30. And the color classes, they're judged as either solid, the tabby pattern, or the party color pattern. So let's look at some of these pictures. Of course, these are going to be very much like our Siamese breed. A long tubular body, a close line coat, long elegant legs, a wedge shape to the head with a straight profile. Those what we call oriental eye set, slanted toward the ears. Nice finish to the chin. You can see that these are in the non-traditional Siamese colors. So we have like the seal and the reds and the creams. They're always going to have the blue eyes because they do have the Siamese Colorpoint gene. You can see the tabby markings are going to be on the legs, the tail, and the face because the body stays relatively clear of the markings because it's the Siamese pattern, which means it goes to the cooler areas of the body, which is the extremities. Here's a tortoiseshell girl. Of course, they're always females. And these cats are very elegant, very lithe, and the standard says fine bones and firm muscles. They're not starved to look this way. They're bred to look this way. And this is one of my favorite cats I ever handled. I called him Pinky. I think his nickname was Pinky. I thought he was just the most stunning cat. I love this picture of him. We talk about a straight profile. Look at that head. Oh my goodness, just absolutely gorgeous. Love the ear size and placement and that nice finish to the chin, that elegant neck, the elegant body, the elegant legs. I just think this was a male. It's a standard that really more favors the females, but this boy was truly elegant. I always felt like I was holding a lead pipe, just solid muscle on this cat. I just thought he was a beautiful example, and I was glad when I found his picture. So that's just a brief discussion about the Colorpoint Shorthair. We have other breeds that look similar. along with our Siamese, but these are the non-traditional colors, not the 4 traditional, which is seal, chocolate, blue, and lilac. Okay.
Nice job. Paul, this lady knows everything and anything about all the recognized cat breeds from the CFA. I would not take her on in trivia pursuit.
We just went through a change in our database. They wanted to start calling the cats colors that none of us were familiar with.
Yes.
Okay.
Like a marmalade was no longer a marmalade. They decided to call it something else. It just threw us all for a loop. Is the pedigree world doing the same thing, or because they are what they are, that's it?
Well, every breed has their own names. Unfortunately, there's not a standard nomenclature. Like one breed may call it black, another one may call it ebony.
Right.
Okay. So, but tortoiseshell and blue cream, and they're not gray. We don't have grays. We have blue. We don't have orange. We have red.
Another one. Yeah.
So that's pretty standard. That's
And we
the
can't
red.
call him orange, we call him red.
Yes.
Right. That's another thing. They're either red, orange, marmalade, but
Yeah.
what's the right name?
Well, it kind of depends on which association you're talking to, too. Everybody has
I
their
guess.
own.
Yeah.
They're
Well, do
under.
you get purebreds
GCF,
that
which
come
is-
in? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the Europeans have their standard nomenclature, which is pretty much adopted by everybody. But CFA kind of lets the breeds have some leeway if they want to call something a little more special for their breed. So we're not standardized either, like we should be. But there's a genetic term for it. There's marmalade's not a genetic term. Okay.
No.
And oranges. So yeah, this is the genetic term, blue cream, tortoiseshell, things like that, that most people go by as your standard.
Casey says, what are you talking about, Kathy? I'm special, right, Casey?
Okay, let's quickly talk about.
I wanted to show you something.
Oh, okay, sure. What is this? Oh my God, that's my article. Scaring me. Is that when
It
I
hangs in my office.
All right. Well, before we go to what you're going to say, Kathy, I did want to ask Paul one quick question. Sometimes do you get purebreds, litters, or surrenders like Siamese or?
It's funny you should say that. I guess it was about almost a year ago. We were doing a large roundup in another mobile home park. It was myself and several other community cat advocates. We wanted to do a big sweep. We talked our veterinarian into doing a few extra that day. We wanted to do a big sweep. So we're there in the mobile home park, and one of the women comes running to me with 2 absolutely drop-dead gorgeous Persian kittens. Absolutely gorgeous. Well, it turned out we left that night with 6 Persian cats, the mother, the father, and a whole litter of, I guess, what would probably be about 2-month-old kittens. And we came to find out that someone was breeding them in one of the mobile homes. They had to move for some family emergency issue, and just out they went.
Oh my goodness.
That's awesome.
So it can happen.
Yeah.
It can happen. Yeah.
Well, one thing I like about the CFA is they champion all cats, and Kathy's going to talk to us about CCW real quick.
Yeah, we have a breeders assistance program too, which is also helping the people in Ukraine, and it would help those people with their Persians if they contacted us. But CFA does recognize the non-pedigreed cats also. It's called Companion Cat World. And when you upload a picture and pay your one-time fee of $13, you get a card with your cat's picture on it. You can get luggage tags or key rings, and 10% of the $13 goes to a local shelter. So I need to talk to you, Paul. Maybe I can start getting some flyers to you. And you can pass them out with all your 500 cats a month. But anyway, it's CFA's way to recognize, we stand for the welfare of all cats, not just the pedigreed cats. And so everybody can check it out on cfa.org/CCW. And you can check out our gallery. And next week, our breed that we're focusing on is the companion cats. Because it actually ranks in like number 9 or 10 in numbers of cats that are registered with CFA. So we include it with our pedigreed cats as one of our
I
breeds
should
to focus on. Yeah.
note
Yeah.
that here in Palm Beach County, you can't get a cat breeding license unless you're a member of CFA.
Wow. I
Have to
didn't
be
know
a
that.
member to get a cat breeder's license.
Wow.
You
That
can't
keeps responsible breeding though.
breed this cat. You can't get a license to breed this cat.
All right, well, we've got a few minutes left. So I'm gonna do two weird things. I'm gonna shift gears and talk to you as a master pet first aid instructor, and then I'm gonna be your friendly bartender. So Paul, one of the things I love doing the most is giving people veterinary approved training in pet first aid in a fun way that's practical. Check these mugs out, Casey and Rusty. We have a cat only class. You can earn a 2-year certificate. It's $40. You get the course book. The whole course is 3 hours. We have some openings for May 12th. But if you have dogs and cats, destiny! We do offer a 4.5-hour class for $84. And the next one is April 16th. So come on, go to Pet First Aid for You. And I think that's one of the best ways to show how much you love your pet is to know what to do and what not to do in a pet emergency. And Crazy Boy Casey is very good at being a safety cat. So here's the thing I do, Mr. Paul. For a guest on my show, I waive the fee. I know you're a busy dude, but if you would want to take one of these classes, I would do that as a thank you for you being on the show. So I
So
can
kind of you. Thank you. Thank you. I would do that. Yes, absolutely.
And we can always, if that date doesn't work, if you got 3 warm bodies, we can do it on a time that works better for your schedule.
Thank you. Very nice of you.
So I'm not Oprah. You're not getting a car, Paul. Sorry, you're not getting a Paul. I know you want it. All right. As promised, every first of the month, I do make a mocktail, which is no booze. For those of you still dying to have some booze for this drink, which is called the Perfect Pineapple Punch Mocktail, as we want to usher in springtime with this very fruit flavored drink. And it's good for, I'm going to give you the recipe for 2 drinks. If for those that want to, you can throw in a little bit, about 1.5 ounces of vodka. But for this, my cats are very disappointed, and we want to do a shout out to Teresa Kiger. She's an all-breed CFA cat judge, and she is the one who creates my graphics for the kitty cocktails. Thank you, Teresa. All right, you guys ready? All right, so all you need to do is get a shaker full of ice. The cats are getting excited, but sorry, Casey, sorry, Rusty, no whipped cream tonight. You're gonna take 4 ounces of pineapple juice. I'm a good measure because this is 6 ounces. I can feel right now there's 2 ounces left. We're gonna do 2 ounces. You can do apricot juice, mango, some orange, nice fruity drink or peach. I'm gonna put 2 ounces in here. Okay, and then we're going to add 2 ounces of club soda, but we're not putting it in yet because we're shaking.
Oh, come on. Come on.
Carbonated.
Come on.
Otherwise, you're going to see this explode on Meowie Hour. Okay, so we shake this up. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your kitty.
What about the ginger beer?
We're going to do that later because it's carbonated.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Ooh, yeah, baby. So we got the glass with the ice. I'm going to pour this in. And I'm now going to add 1 ounce of ginger beer. Now, for all of you, ginger beer is not alcoholic. It's like a root beer that tastes like ginger, okay? So I'm going to put a nice little generous pour in here. Never put carbonated things in a cocktail shaker unless you want to clean up. And then another 2 ounces of club soda. It gives it more of a fizz, a carbonation. You want to give it a nice little stir. And then drop in a couple of limes. And at this time, I ask you all, if you would, to please raise a glass, whether it is the Perfect Pineapple Punch mocktail or whatever Paul Bates is drinking. He's not sane. He's at the office. Yeah.
Oh, well.
You ever see the people when they do their glasses, they have a coffee cup with, and they have wine in it and they go like they're blowing it to keep it cool. Yeah, we know. We also have Kathy, whatever she's drinking from her cup.
My Sprite Zero, yeah.
But let us all, right, Casey? Casey goes, raise a glass. Let us please toast to all cats, purebred, mutt cats, community cats, working cats, because they make us humans better. Cheers, kitties.
Cheers.
Dude. And to all those guys in the Ukraine helping the animals.
Yes.
Absolutely. The Dr. Marty Becker, Dr. Gary Weitzman, all the other ones. Bless you all for being there to help those pets. Guess what? I want to thank our sponsors, Kitty Raid, Doggy Raid, and Yummy Raid. Thank you again. I want to thank the Cat Fancier Association. Definitely want to thank my co-host, Kathy Black. Happy birthday again, a day late. Destiny, are you on the lap? Look at this.
Yes, she's asleep.
Casey says, I'm like two sizes of Destiny.
I know.
I thoroughly enjoyed having you on our show, Paul Bates from the Peggy Adams Rescue League. You survived Meowie Hour, Paul. What do you think?
I'm so impressed. I have to tell you. I don't know if I'm more impressed with the fact that your cat sat there the entire hour.
Right, Casey?
Or how well and upbeat you keep it going. It's awesome. Congratulations.
Well, he is my best feline friend. He's my BFF. Hey, guys, next week, you know her, all breed CFA judge and editor of Cat Talk, Teresa Kiger's coming on Meowie Hour as a guest.
She's back.
Lots of questions to ask her, but I really am glad she's here. All of you take care of your kitties. And until next time, it's the same cat channel. It's the same cat time. We'll see you on Meowie Hour. Thanks, everybody.